Hey guys, our devotion today comes from Genesis chapter 6. Today we are looking at the story of God telling Noah he better build an ark. But before we get into that, let's remember to pray for our church family. Today we're praying for the Neal family, that is Michael and Christina and Gabe and Judah. So this chapter contains a statement that about humanity during this time I think is pretty startling. I think the statement here in verse 5 really tells us a lot. It says that the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. We're in chapter 6 of Genesis, and things have gotten bad quick. I mean, think about that. It really doesn't seem like it's been that long since we saw God create everything, create man, and he took a step back and he looked at it and he said, wow, it's very good what I have created. And of course, we see after that first disobedience to God of Adam and Eve, them being removed from the garden, we really see just how detrimental, how serious their sin was. The death and destruction that it has brought on all of creation is visible here because it really hasn't been that many generations. Of course, I know that they lived for a lot longer than we do now. But it hasn't been that long since even Adam has passed away that we've gotten to this point where men continually, all they do all day long is think about evil, things that do not please God. And so we see that there's been this humongous falling away, people just dead in sin. And it's gotten so bad that it says God regrets creation. He regrets that he's made them. And he's ready to wipe them out. And of course, we understand that is where the story of Noah comes in. Not just the story of God's wrath on sin and his wrath on that's going to be poured out on all of creation, but his great mercy. It says that Noah finds favor in God's eyes, and that it talks a lot about the sexual sin that's going on here, the violence, the evil that's going on in the world. And I think we see maybe part of that favor here is just because Noah is one of the men in his family who are not participating in those things. I think we also see it's just God's favor and mercy in choosing Noah, because we know Noah's not a perfect person. As I read through this today, thinking about God's wrath that he's getting ready to pour out, he's going to bring complete and total destruction. It just reminds me of the wrath that of God on sin that is going to be poured out overall. We know that his wrath for sin one day is going to be poured out completely. There's going to be complete destruction of those who do not know the Lord, those whose names aren't written in the book of life. We have our Revelation Bible study right now, and that's one of the things that we're looking at. Here we see this glimpse of it. And just thinking about as hard of a story, it's such a tragic story to see these people who have turned away from God and see them face the wrath of God. We understand that God is just, but it also shows us God's mercy, the building of the ark, his salvation for his creation, his love making a way. And what we look at the story of Noah, and we understand that God, again, for that when that final wrath is poured out, he has made a way through Jesus Christ, Jesus being the true ark that we're to be delivered through. I think that's probably going to be something that we meditate on over the next few days as we read through the story of Noah. But as for today, I think the main thing that stands out to me reading this chapter is the seriousness of sin, the death that it brought so quickly, and how humanity in such a short time period had already gotten to a place where it seemed irredeemable. God was going to pour his wrath out on it, and yet he did make that way through the ark for his mercy to be shown, his grace, his redemption through Jesus Christ, through the promise that he made through Eve's seed to bring salvation. So I am thankful for this passage today. If God speaks to you something, God reveals something to you, I ask that you share it with us on Facebook. Let's minister to one another. God bless you guys.